We are backstage live once again at the historic Arcada Theater, and we are with a man, a member of the Trinity of Jersey Rock. You got Bruce Springsteen, the E Street Band. You got Bon Jovi. But tonight, we've got, I'm telling you, Southside Johnny, Asbury Jukes. Thanks for being with us, man.
A weak third.
Not at all. It's a Trinity. That's, you know.
Oh, please don't with that.
Oh, come on.
Cut it out.
You know what? I'm telling you.
I must be the Holy Ghost then, because I'm closer to that than they are.
But you know what? A lot of people, hear you and go, oh, Jesus. No. Here's the thing. Everybody who's been coming here in the last week, at the very least, been telling us just how excited they are because there's such a cult following for you. They are just like fans extraordinary.
Well, when you're the Holy Ghost, obviously you're going to have a cult following.
No, you know what?
The hell?
You've been doing this. 1976, you guys come out. And tell me how it all happened. Little Stevie Van Zandt, you guys are like shooting marbles in the playground. What do you...
No, we used to shoot pool over the Neptune Pool Hall, though, when we were teenagers. We met at the Upstage Club in Asbury Park, which is a teen club that was open till 5 o'clock in the morning. And they had built-in amps and drums.
See, that's tough Jersey thing. Yeah. Teen club open till 5 in the morning.
Well, that's the way it was back in the 60s. So. But we met as teenagers, and we were in bands together. Everybody would con some club owner into giving us a couple of dates, and somebody would throw together a band, and we'd all end up in it and do Chuck Berry, Bo Diddley, and Stones, and Bruce started writing songs, and Stephen, and I played a lot of blues. It just was one of those things. It was our education, our college. We had a lot of years to just play and develop and find out how we wanted to sound and the kind of music we wanted to make. It was a great time for us in that we were allowed to be ourselves. There was not a lot of pressure. There wasn't any recognition. Nobody was trying to sign us to contracts. And, that's kind of missing today. Everybody, as soon as they become interested in music, either their parents or some relative says you got to be on The Voice or whatever all those silly shows are. For us, it was a very secluded thing that we could grow and develop in, and we had the whole Monmouth County area. There were lots of places to play if you lied about your age, and we did all those things.
Was that kind of like the feel that it was back then, or the temperature of the neighborhood, in the sense that like a generation before, you had guys on under street lamps doing the Philly sound, that East Coast stuff. Around in the 70s at that time, what was the complexion? Was there a lot of guys trying to do what you guys were doing? Were there just bands everywhere?
There were bands everywhere in the late 60s and early 70s, yeah. Everybody was in a band. But when we started out, there were a lot of bands, but nobody took them seriously. And I didn't really at the beginning either, until I met Steve Van Zandt. And before that, Gary Talent, Bruce's bass player, longtime bass player, he and I went to high school together. And I remember asking him one time, what are you going to do? And he goes, I'm going to be a musician. And he said, I'd known that since I was 9 years old. And then I met Stephen, and he said the same thing, essentially. Bruce, same thing. They all knew that this was what they wanted to do at an early age. I was kind of the drunken psycho, and I learned all the songs. I could sing, I could play harmonica, but I had no real ambition until I met those people, and I thought, well, if they're going to try to do it, I might as well too. I don't have any other prospect, so I might as well try it. And that's, a long, long time ago, but that's the way it was back then. And there was no real competition. Everybody was, like I say, in everybody else's bands, and everybody was happy when somebody did well, if they got a good paying gig, or if they got better on guitar. Bruce started writing songs, and we just were knocked out by the songs. So it was very much a good circle of friends that encouraged you.
It seemed a little, even almost incestuous, You looked at
well, we didn't get that bad.
But you know what I mean? But it seemed like you were borrowing everybody's guitarist and drummer.
Still do. Bobby Bandiera, my guitar player for a long, long time, is out with John Bon Jovi. Eddie Mannion, my saxophone player, has been out with Bruce. Guys come and guys go. John went on a tour with us and played rhythm guitar for about 3 months, I think it was.
Really?
Yeah. I paid him exactly what I paid a band.
Really? Yeah. Now, I got to think, over the years, there had to have been at least one night when it was you and Bruce, or you and John, or the three of you, or just even with Stevie, that you're just kind of jamming and hanging out.
We did that so many times, we still do it. Bruce used to have, I don't know if he's doing it anymore, but I don't think he did it this year. But I just did a thing for a light of day, and Bruce was there, and we did stuff. Stevie got an award from a charity, and Steven and Bruce and I and Elvis Costello was there. So, but you do that. I mean, everybody has a pool of music that they know. You know, any decent musician has a pool of music, and you can always get on stage and do "Knock on Wood" or a Chuck Berry song or some Rolling Stones song. You know those things, so it makes it easy. And when musicians respect each other, they're happy to jam together.
What are you doing when you're not playing music? Are you making meatballs in the kitchen? What are you doing? I mean,
I do. I don't make meatballs as good as these meatballs, but
they're my meatballs.
I know. Well, good. I didn't know. I thought she made them. No, but you made them.
Ah, yes.
Oh, good. They're excellent meatballs. We want some for the road.
You got it. We'll fill the bus with it.
Just so you know, after we leave here tonight, we have an over 15-hour drive back to New Jersey because we had a trailer on the back of the bus, and the bus is old. It's from the 80s.
Wow.
And the driver has to stop and sleep for at least 6 hours. So we're not going to come home for like 20 hours.
Oh my gosh.
So we need meatballs.
We're gonna hook you up.
Okay.
We're gonna hook you up. Now, where did the blues influence come from? You see, your music obviously is so bluesy, and you play the harp. I mean, where did that come from?
My parents. I was lucky with my parents. They listened to blues. They listened to jazz. Even a little bit of rock and roll. They like Big Joe Turner and like that. But they like T-Bone Walker and
that's a real deal.
And John Lee Williamson, son of Williamson the First. Just blues. They liked blues, and so that's what I thought all parents listened to growing up. I thought I went up to my friend's house, they put on a Wynonie Harris record or Louis Armstrong, but that's not what they were listening to. They were listening to Mantovani and easy listening. But I acquired a taste for it from them. And then my brother and I listened to black radio, and we heard Elmore James and Muddy Waters and Little Walter, and that stuff really killed me. And we would buy the cutout albums and look for the 45s. And it's the kind of music I wanted to play when I was 14, 15, 16 years old. And I've expanded my horizons since then. But right then, right at that point, that's really what I wanted to do.
But it seems like it comes full circle. A lot of music has that feel. I mean,
well, you know, once you absorb all of that, it's going to be part of you, just as absorbing Sam and Dave and Otis Redding and Aretha Franklin and all these other influences. That all is going to come through. And the good thing about the Asbury Park audience is they let you do those things, and they'll appreciate the fact that you're doing a song by someone they've never heard of, as long as you do it with a lot of sincerity and a lot of real drive, that you really mean it. They'll listen to it. And if they like it, they'll let you know.
And so I was touching on earlier, your fan base has been, we really got educated. This is the first time you're here at the Arcada, and again, very excited about that. But your fans are just so supportive of the music and of the experience as well. I mean, your show is like right up there as far as experientially from what people tell me.
Well, you gotta, I mean, back then, we were having so much fun that it was obviously infectious. We were just having a great time on stage, jamming, playing all kinds of music. But when we first made a record, when I first made a record, and Bruce too, and Bruce was an incredible live act back then, so improvisatory and just really working the audience. Of course, he's still got that, but back then it was astonishing to see. But being from New Jersey and being from Asbury Park, which is a joke to people in New York, when we got a chance to play outside of our area, we really wanted to kick ass. So we wanted to show that we were, the real thing. And I think that's kept us going all these years. Every time you get a chance to play someplace new, like this place, you really want to prove yourself over again, even if it's been 40-some years.
Sure.
I know I can play Cleveland, which we played last night, and get a great audience, because we played there early on, and we've always had great audiences there. But sometimes you go someplace, and they don't really know you. And that's when you really go, we're going to show them tonight. I think audiences appreciate that. And
it's great that even after these years, you still have that driving passion. I'm
afraid they're going to make me get a job if I don't do it right.
No, you're doing it. I'm telling you, so far it's great.
Okay.
I'm lucky enough to be on the board of directors for Little Kids Rock, a charity in New York that little Stevie.
Right, Little Kids Rock, that's the charity, right?
Yeah, so he's very much involved with that, and I got a chance to meet with him, sit with him for a couple minutes, and I could see in you what I saw in him. I mean, you guys are like real neighborhood guys first. I've been noticing that a lot of the musicians are musicians, they're entertainers, and they're doing that whole, it's not phony, it's just who they've become. But you guys, especially, you know, Stevie, you've got that neighborhood feel to you still. It hasn't left you. You know, and being from Chicago neighborhoods, you know, in the streets, I mean, we're the same, kind of the same thing here.
Well, I think the idea was that back when we were teenagers, we wanted to make music, and music was the most important thing in our lives. And when we started to, you know, get apartments of our own at 17, 18, and 19, we listened to music all day long. And we went out and played, and we jammed, and we went to see other bands, and it became this obsession. And you learned from everybody. I remember seeing Iggy Stooge way back and thinking, I got to be more like that instead of trying to be more like Ray Charles or somebody like that. You know, that just appealed to me a lot more. And once you get obsessed with music, it really is not a question of whether you're going to make a living at it. It's that you're going to do it. Mm-hmm. And you try to find ways to make people understand what your passion is about. And Stephen, this guy, he taught me a lot of things too, you know. I like to think I taught him a few things, but probably the wrong things.
There's no wrong.
Oh,
you guys,
yeah, there's plenty of wrong.
It's just a little less right, I think,
yeah,
is what you guys do.
Well, we really, I mean, you know, you can't do it for this long without loving it. It's just not, it's not possible physically to get on the road and do like these trips. I mean,
it's a tough one, man.
I'm 66 years old, so I'm going to be 70 in 4 years. I don't want to spend 22 hours on a goddamn bus. But if I get to play someplace new, and then Cleveland, and we played Pittsburgh the night before. These are great towns to play rock and roll in.
Yeah.
So you say, okay, let's do it.
So I got to ask you, I mean, just as somebody who knows Stephen, there's one question about him. When the whole Sopranos thing came out, and the first time you saw him in character,
I said, that's Stephen. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
I mean, that's him.
That's him.
That's him.
That's really him.
I mean, really, it's him.
He is that guy. He's got a heart of gold, but don't cross him.
See, that's what I've heard about him. He seems very sweet, and you talk to him, he's like I said, neighborhood guy. But that character is scary.
Yeah. There's a lot of Silvio in him. Yep. He and I have had our knockdown, drag-out fights, too, about things, musical things, and direction and all that stuff. But you come to an understanding, you know. I mean, I respect him so much as a songwriter and an arranger and a producer. You know, you can't really argue with his talent, but we've had our set twos. Well, and I'm not an easy guy to get along with either. So.
Come on, look at you. You're a teddy bear. Come on.
There's been name calling, I can tell you that.
I'm sure it's been like Sweetie and Honey and
those
you know, Lovey, right?
Yeah, we've all yelled at each other.
I mean, you don't get called Little Stevie if you're that furious or vicious. Or...
He was Miami Steve for a while. No, he's tough. He's tough.
So
Bruce is tough too. Bruce can be tough when he's.
Yeah.
Bruce is a sweetheart.
Yeah.
He's done so many things that people don't know about. But don't cross him, especially when it's about music. He doesn't want to hear it. You know. I don't either. I mean, I don't. I'm a keyboard player, Jeff, because he and I are songwriters and co-producers of the albums. We've been at each other's throats many, many, many times. But we want to get it done. We have a slightly different vision about something, and we learn to compromise.
And you didn't walk away. That's amazing.
No, you can't. I mean, if you really are getting something good out of the relationship, if there's no good in it, then you walk away and say the hell with it.
You know, my brother and I coordinate the entertainment for the Hoboken Italian Festival, even though we are here in Chicago. We've been doing it for about 10, 12 years. And you did a great job at the Arts Festival.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun.
I mean, really, you really tore it up. Not that you don't always, but you really, really did.
Well, those are good days, though, too. You know, everybody's feeling good and in a good mood and things like that.
Wish we could take the blame for the good weather, right?
Yeah. We used to have called what we called jukes weather. Every time we played outdoors, it rained.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Now, what do I got to do to become a juke? What do I got to walk a certain way, talk a certain way?
Or you're not.
Being a juke?
There's nothing to do with anything.
Nothing.
Nothing. Well, if you can get on the road and you can hang with the band musically on stage, and you don't piss anybody off too much, although you can some, and you've got a good sense of humor, and you can roll with the punches, you might become a juke.
They'll put you up for nomination at the meeting.
But you have to be able to go up. We still go through tremendous ordeals. We did a show, 3 songs, supposed to be 3 songs, at Yankee Stadium for the Hockey League, which was playing hockey in the center field, I guess, or whatever it was. And it was 24 degrees and a steady 20-mile-an-hour wind blowing at us. The horns froze up. Literally, the trombone player could not move his slide.
Really?
And he had to do it all by his lips, which is like impossible. The trumpet players think that I'm freezing. I had to loan my bass player gloves. I had these thermal gloves because he couldn't feel his fingertips.
Yeah.
And you know, you think after all these years, you go, why am I doing this? And there are guys who would have balked at it. All those guys were happy to do it. And they were happy to get off stage and back in the warmth to do it.
Well, I can tell you one thing. I'm extremely happy that you're here for the first time at the Arcada Theater. Johnny, thank you so much, buddy.
My pleasure. Thanks for having us. We're going to have a great time tonight.
Southside Johnny and the Asbury Dukes live at the Arcada Theater. We're backstage once again. We'll see you next time.